Time now for our Sunrise Smart Start. Effective today, restaurants in the state operating at 50% capacity can now open at 75%. All of this, of course, under New York State COVID-19 guidelines. Eric Hedikost joining us live from Park Avenue, usually a very busy section for restaurant goers. Good news, just in time for the weekend, right, Eric?
That's right, Leah. Well, Governor Cuomo is acknowledging data that shows restaurants can operate safely with these protocols, but restaurant owners are saying they're not quite out of the woods yet, especially with this 11 p.m. curfew that's still in place. And a day after Governor Cuomo announcing gyms, movie theaters, bowling alleys, and casinos will have their curfew lifted, they can stay past 11 p.m. Ross Mueller owns 2 restaurants in Monroe County, Native and Label 7. He says he feels misunderstood as a restaurant owner. For example, he says it sounds like the curfew is in place for them to eliminate crowds, but for many restaurants that have been struggling, it's not the case. Instead, there's a small group of people inside that he has to kick out early when he'd rather have them stay and enjoy their night into the evening.
You have a mix of people that are still afraid to go out or haven't been vaccinated or whatever the reasoning is, and that's mixed with being late hours. So we're not going to have a huge crowd to begin with, right? So we'd like to see the crowd that's already there be able to stay and enjoy their evening to its entirety.
Mueller says with more vaccines, clinics opening up, and as we get closer to a herd immunity, he says he would like to see the state hand over those responsibilities to the bar and restaurant owners so they can make their decisions. They know their customers best. They've been doing this for several months, so we'll just have to wait and see, Leah.
Yeah, it's been a long road for them. Eric, thank you so much for that. Well, the state said it will give updated guidance for restaurants sometime in April.
On a list, the former policy aide to Governor Andrew Cuomo was interviewed by investigators linked to the state attorney general's office yesterday. Liz has accused the governor of inappropriate behavior. She says questions by investigators were not just about the governor, but also about what she calls the sexually hostile work environment fostered by Governor Cuomo and his senior aides. In a statement, Liz says she'll continue to cooperate with investigators and support other women who come forward. The governor has denied all allegations of sexual misconduct.
Well, the 2 teenagers charged with the murder of 53-year-old Stephen Ammenhauser will appear before a grand jury later today. Officials say 16-year-old Xavion Perry and a 14-year-old Adriel Riley Jr. intentionally set Ammenhauser on fire 1 week ago. He died Tuesday morning. The teens were arraigned Wednesday, and they pled not guilty.
Fairport police are changing the way their officers interact with certain suspects. The police chief says before someone is arrested, officers will consider other options first. Those who are first-time offenders, nonviolent offenders, and juveniles will meet with a social worker before being arrested. From there, that social worker will help determine the best steps forward.
Well, happening today after a long wait, high school football games will kick off tonight across Section 5 and other parts of New York. High-risk contact sports were delayed, of course, until the spring due to the pandemic. Teams were allowed to return to practice on March 2nd. The condensed schedule will conclude in early May. Each player will be allowed 2 fans in the stands with masking and social distancing in effect for all spectators. Be sure to tune in to Football Frenzy tonight on News 8 at 11 o'clock for all your local scores and highlights.
To our Family First segment this morning, talking about common household items that could be dangerous for your children.
An important topic here next week is Poison Prevention Week. Doctors say the pandemic has led to an increase in calls for accidental exposure to things like hand sanitizer and household cleaning products. The good news, the majority of kids were able to stay home and get the help they needed from the Poison Center over the phone. Still, they say about 1 in 5 kids did have to take a trip to the ER. Dr. Elizabeth Murray with Golisano Children's Hospital says keep all medication in the original child-proof containers.
So when possible, limit your child's exposure to them seeing other people take medications while they're very young. Also keeping that medicine far out of reach, so out of sight, out of mind, out of reach. We want to make sure all cabinets that have cleaning supplies are locked as well. Now, as we start to being able to re-engage with family and friends and visit other households, making sure that those households are again ready to have young children around.
Dr. Murray says out of the 50,000 calls made to the Poison Center locally, about a third were for children under the age of 5. The Poison Center is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 1-800-222 1222.
Well, 24 degrees to start this last day of winter, Josh.
And the wind chill into the teens right now, which is absolutely bitter, I suppose, heading out the door. But hey, this is beautiful. The sunrise in the making at the Port of Rochester is going to be a brilliant one. Some gorgeous color there over the horizon. Check out some of the temperatures right now. Like I said, it feels like it's in the low teens right now. 25 in Webster, 20 in South Bristol. Good morning to you. No shortage of clear sky here throughout the day today, and that bodes well as you check out your hour-by-hour planner. But it is going to be a little chilly with that brisk breeze out of the north. Your high temperature today in the middle and upper 30s, guys.
Josh, thank you. Time for another check of our sunrise traffic. A live look over Rochester at this hour. Volume coming in, building along the west side on 490, but still moving nicely. No major slowdowns on 390 or 590 as well. So if you're heading out the door now, it should be a smooth ride in. Well, vaccine efforts ramping up nationwide. Joined once again by Washington correspondent Basil John this morning. Basil, good morning. The president says the U.S. will hit 100 million vaccines later today. What is contributing to that rise in vaccinations, according to the president?
Yes, well, President Biden made that announcement yesterday, and today he will be heading out to Atlanta, Georgia, in order to go and see the CDC, talk about how they're combating the effects of the pandemic. But he said that the main contributing factors were things such as the vaccination utilization throughout the country and distribution. And he also cited the American Rescue Plan as one of those large contributing factors because of the extra money in it that allowed state and local governments to utilize those funds to make the vaccine distribution more accessible to communities.
Well, you mentioned Atlanta. In the wake of that mass shooting there the other day, the president says he wants to meet with Asian American community leaders. What are lawmakers saying about this issue?
So for the most part, you're just hearing that many lawmakers, both in the House and the Senate, they're very upset about what took place in Atlanta, Georgia. Senator Jon Ossoff out of Georgia, he also reiterated that this is a very important moment for the people of Georgia and especially for the people within Atlanta. The president going down and speaking on this issue. He's been outspoken about it for the past few months, speaking out against Asian American hate crimes throughout the entire country. So this just adds on to that list that the president obviously has been monitoring. But Senator Ossoff said that this is a very important moment. It ends up setting an example for the community and for the country at large that there needs to be more of a sense of unity in order to get past some of these difficulties the country is facing right now when it comes to these Asian American hate crimes and hate crimes in general among multiple races.
Following it closely. Basil, thank you for your live reporting all week. We certainly appreciate it. We should add, investigators now say there's evidence Robert Long, the suspect in the Atlanta shootings, was a customer at two of those spas where he allegedly opened fire. Time now for some news from around the state. Outdoor venues that seat over 2,500 people can host live events and concerts with increased capacity beginning April 1st. The governor making that announcement yesterday. Good news for the Red Wings here locally. The governor says venues can host live events at 20% capacity. Adding statewide travel for sports and recreational activities will be permitted beginning March 29th.
Well, travel restrictions across the U.S.-Canadian border have now been extended. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announcing non-essential travel will be further restricted until at least April 21st. The DHS adds they will work to identify an approach to easing restriction conditions when conditions permit.
Time now for a look at the GRE Morning Business Report. The FCC issuing the largest fine in its history as part of a major crackdown on illegal robocalls. Marketers in Texas will have to pay $225 million for trying to sell bogus health plans they falsely claimed were linked to major insurance companies.
Well, shopping has surged during this pandemic as more people avoid going inside stores, making package delivery companies like FedEx in high demand. The Tennessee-based company will report net income of $892 million for the first 3 months of this year, compared to $315 million the same time last year.
Google plans to spend $7 billion on real estate this year. The company says the money will be used to expand office space and data centers across 19 states. It's signaling a return to the workplace for the company that has been largely off-site since the beginning of the pandemic. And here's what some folks will be talking about at the water cooler later this morning. The NCAA tournament ramping up in earnest today at noon here on WROC Channel 8. We will have Virginia Tech against Florida. And also the Cuse here, Leah, right?
Absolutely. You can catch Syracuse at 9:40 tonight against San Diego State University. Only place to catch the game is right here on Channel 8 WROC. St. Bonaventure will take on LSU at 1:45 on Saturday. Make sure you fill out those brackets this morning.
Filled out my bracket last night. We'll see how it plays out.
Best of luck.
All right, Josh, how about our forecast as we wrap it up?
Wind chills into the teens this morning, but a beautiful clear sky. We're looking at highs today into the middle 30s. Check out that gorgeous skies. We'll look out from the Charlotte Genesee Lighthouse at the Port of Rochester. Unrestricted visibility. Hardly a cloud in sight here for the day today. Check out your planner. Shapes up this way. There it is. Lots of sunshine. Still need the winter coat, though. That's for sure. Your top temp in the mid-30s.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
Our next update coming up in about 30 minutes. CBS This Morning is up next. Be safe and have a great Friday.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.